We may be a nation of SUV-loving Aussies, but the light hatch remains a popular choice for buyers who need affordable and economical transport. Well, we say affordable, but the fact is the sub 20k car, they're few and far between these days. In fact, you'll need more than $30,000 to park either of today's contenders in your driveway. First up is the new Volkswagen Polo 85 TSI. Taking it on is the Toyota Yaris SX Hybrid. So, are they worth it? And which one is better? Stick around to find out. The Toyota Yaris and Volkswagen Polo are very close rivals, with similar sales, similar specifications and similar price tags. Our two test cars separated by around $1,000. With such close on-paper credentials, finding the better car for your needs means diving into the details. Finished in lunar blue, this Yaris is loud. It feels in keeping with a busy and upbeat exterior. LED headlights up front, colour-matched door handles, mirrors and bumpers, and 15-inch alloys are standard. The Volkswagen Polo's exterior is in stark contrast, sleek and understated even in vibrant violet. Exterior details mimic that found on the Yaris. LED headlights, colour-coded exterior and 15-inch alloys too. That's where on-paper credentials can be deceiving, because as you can see, in the metal these two couldn't be more different. Both vehicles are powered by small-capacity 3-cylinder engines, a turbocharged for the Polo and a naturally aspirated hybrid unit in the Yaris. Now, while the Yaris brings the larger 1.5-litre unit to the game, it's the 1-litre Polo that brings more torque. In terms of claimed fuel efficiency, the Yaris Hybrid is a clear winner, with a claimed combined consumption of 3.3 litres per 100 kilometres compared to 5.4 for the Polo. In fact, the Yaris even decreases more in city traffic, down to 2.8. Transmissions create a key point of difference. The Polo runs a 7-speed dual clutch and the Yaris a continuously variable transmission. The Yaris has a busy interior, but everything falls into place nicely. The manual adjust seats are really comfy, and even though it's a little tight in here, it's easy to get a good driving position, even for taller drivers. The layout is very straightforward and everything is clearly labelled. The design, however, does feel a little dated and there's a lot of hard plastics at play. It lacks a bit of finesse. There are plenty of open storage nooks for phones and other bits and pieces, including 2 small cup holders. You'll find a sole USB point and 12-volt outlet up front. It's a clever and practical use of limited space. The infotainment screen sits nice and high on the dash here, which means it's right in the driver's line of sight, which is great. Clearly labelled buttons also make it easy to navigate. Now, while it's a colour touchscreen, it still feels a little bit dated, but it works well. The digital instrumentation cluster is also really good, and it's got a variety of different views and driver information. The story here is one of simplicity, and that rates highly no matter who you are. Keyless entry with push-button start, single-zone climate control, and voice control are also standard. A wireless charging pad would be a nice inclusion to get rid of those pesky wires in a tight cabin. The Volkswagen Polo sits at the other end of the styling spectrum. It's classy, it's understated. The design execution makes it feel far more modern than the Yaris, when in fact the equipment levels are actually quite similar. Cloth trim, manual adjust seats with lumbar support are very comfortable. Ergonomics are good and it's easy to settle in behind the wheel of the Polo. Fit, finish and materials are of a high quality. It's also quite a different seating position to the higher perched feel in the Yaris. Despite the Polo's small proportion, practicalities like 2 small cup holders, a small lidded armrest and a wireless phone charging nook do the job. It's a similar layout to the Yaris, but it feels like a more resolved design and more spacious interior. The 8-inch touchscreen gives you access to all the infotainment and in-car settings, and then down here you'll find buttons for your manual adjust single zone heating and cooling. Like the Yaris, the multifunction steering wheel gives you quick access to infotainment, in-car settings, cruise control and so on. Again, the Polo's sleek design gives the impression of a superior system, but I'm not sure it's quite as intuitive as the Yaris. Tech inclusions are good, but not quite as strong as the Yaris, with features like satellite navigation part of an options package. Reversing cameras with dynamic guides are common to both, but the Polo adds parking sensors front and rear. The Polo has the better screen resolution of the two, but parking is super easy in both nonetheless. The Polo wins the design stakes, but the slightly higher priced Yaris offers more extensive equipment as standard. I'm calling it line ball for now. The styling is the key differentiator thus far. Safety technology is good in both vehicles. The omission of rear cross traffic alert and blind spot warning are common to both. The Yaris has active cruise control as standard. It's a cost option again for the Polo. Let's not expect too much back here. These cars are not built for carpool duties. But having said that, you can see that 2 adults will fit fairly comfortably. You'll find 2 ISOFIX positions and a light, but little else. No air vents, charge points or armrest. It's a similar story in the back of the Polo. You'll fit 3 kids or 2 adults quite comfortably. Alternatively, use it for excess baggage. You do get 2 USB-C charge points, however, as well as 2 ISOFIX positions. Both vehicles have relatively small boots, but it's the Polo that offers just a little bit extra space. Both are manual operated and will deal with bags for a weekend away. Fold the 60/40 split fold seats and take your golf clubs too. So, they're good looking and well equipped, but which one is better behind the wheel? Let's find out. We're behind the wheel of the Yaris and it's pretty fun to drive. It's got such a different character to the Polo and that translates on the road too. It's playful. The engine is a little ripper. It's responsive and the hybrid system works seamlessly, except for a little noise as it transitions between petrol or electric power sources. It's got that always-on feel to it, no dips in power. It's also nippy and agile, which is great for city-based duties, which is where these cars are probably going to spend most of their time. The CVT is a good one. It's quiet and it delivers power in a smooth and predictable manner. Ride comfort is good. Supportive seats complement a supple suspension setup. It's perfect for the city, but also proved itself worthy on the freeway. It feels quite solid and capable on SUV-filled roads. The cabin's pretty well insulated, but when you plant your foot, that engine strain does creep in a little bit. The steering is crisp and it gives good feedback. Again, it just feels like a really accomplished and solid unit. Outward vision is good and it's very easy to get a feel for this car's place on the road. There's a lot to like about the Yaris SX Hybrid. A lot of small things done well create a very compelling package. The Polo's little engine is sprightly, but it doesn't have that same engagement or response as the Yaris. It's a little more subdued in its power delivery, and if you're wondering if that's a good thing or a bad thing, it depends on your driving preferences, doesn't it? Despite my partiality for European subtleties, I would pick the Yaris for its driveline. The Polo's performance is good, but that dual clutch lag from standstill is a bugbear for me, particularly for city-based duties where zip and haste are important. Once you're on the go though, it's barely noticeable. There's no denying the poise and solid handling of the Polo. Where overall dynamics are concerned, it feels like the more mature car. Ride comfort is something you'll hear described as typically Volkswagen, which is code for firm, and it may deter some buyers. Seat comfort masks much of this rigidity, but it is something that divides buyers. Those Volkswagen levels of refinement are alive and well in its smallest family member. Driving the Polo back to back with the Yaris, you really can appreciate the difference. It's composed and well mannered. Yes, the Polo is more refined than the Yaris. Outward vision is just as good in the Yaris. It's no surprise that the Yaris's petrol-electric powertrain is the more efficient unit by a good margin. Fewer trips to the Bowser are always a good thing. The Yaris wins the efficiency challenge hands down. Picking the better drive experience is not so black and white, and interestingly, the gap is not as wide as you may expect between an aspirational Euro buy and a tried and trusted veteran. The Polo's overall refinement is enticing. However, feel at the wheel and ride comfort see the little Yaris as our preferred drive. It's a slightly better balance where performance, ride and handling are concerned. The Yaris not only has a longer warranty, but will also cost you considerably less to service over a 5-year period. On paper credentials would let you believe these rivals are similar tiny beasts, but in the middle they are chalk and cheese. The European flair and pared back sophistication of the Polo is at complete odds with the playful and busy character of the Yaris. 2 small capacity engines, one far more clever than the other. Stock standard equipment levels favour the slightly higher priced Yaris, but aspirational buyers will be drawn to the stylish Polo. Yes, the value equation does stack up, but who does it better? The style, fit and finish and refinement of the Volkswagen Polo is a very hard act to beat. And yet, the Toyota Yaris takes the win. The combination of practical packaging, a fun and clever hybrid powertrain, and strong value for money, proving too much for even a pretty euro.